This podcast is sponsored by Affinity Recruiting and Consulting. 94% of small businesses and nonprofits disappear before their 10th birthday. The top 6% survive and thrive for two reasons: talent and strategy. Affinity's team of experts provides talent acquisition, outsourced HR, strategic planning, and fundraising support. Long story short, they fix the problems that cause small businesses and nonprofits to fail. If you could use help with recruiting, consulting, or HR, email their founder, Rob Murphy, to start a conversation today. You can also visit them online at affinitytoday.com, and both of those links are in the episode notes. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond Rockets. Today I sit down to talk with Rocket City Dietitian, whose motto is helping you explore Huntsville through food and fun with a healthy dose of wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today. Would you like to introduce yourself and we'll get started there?
Yes, my name is Rachel Brown. I'm a registered dietitian and diabetes educator and mom of two. And I am the face behind Rocket City Dietitian.
So I know you're not actually originally from Huntsville. You actually moved here in 2016. You went to high school in Georgia and then went to Nashville for your undergrad degree. Can you talk a little bit about kind of your background and what got you to move to Huntsville in 2016?
Yes, so I went to school in Nashville, Tennessee to become a dietitian. So I've been obsessed with food forever, so I thought I would major in it, like one does. And so I was there for 15 years.
Wow. And
my husband got a job that moved us to Huntsville. So inside, I've always been a foodie. So inside, I thought I was going to die when I moved to Huntsville in 2020.
There's nothing going to be there. I can't enjoy any good food. There's no local stuff.
Right.
But you get here and is it exactly what you thought it was going to be?
Well, in 2016, it was very grim for me as a foodie. So I think the first thing that I saw was Pizzell's and Piper and Leaf at Low Mill. Mm-hmm. That gave me hope that there's something cool here, something unique. So I started just trying to explore, trying to find all the things in town that I can love and appreciate as a foodie. Because in Nashville, every single weekend we were going to new stuff.
Yeah.
So just trying to make it work.
So you get to Huntsville in 2016. Were you just still doing your dietitian stuff, still working for doing that sort of stuff as well? And kind of when did you have this idea to maybe I could start a Instagram account?
Yes, I know, kind of a weird mix, huh? So when I moved here, so in Nashville, I was a pediatric diabetes educator. Okay. That was my dream job. And so when we moved to Huntsville, I thought I would just do a job like that.
Yeah.
And Huntsville at the time did not have a pediatric endocrinologist. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So I just got a job at the hospital as a clinical registered dietitian. And then after that, I soon found out I was pregnant with my son, my second child. And we decided it wasn't worth it for me to go back to work. I did not enjoy that job. And then I had two young kids at home, and we were just like, I'm just going to stay at home. And my plan was never to be a stay-at-home mom. It just wasn't in my thoughts. I liked working. I liked being a dietitian. I loved diabetes education. So I'm like, what am I going to do with myself at home? Yes. I got to do something.
So what year was this around?
So that was 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, 2017. And so at home, I'm there with the kids. I'm like, what am I going to do with my hands? So I just created an account. I've always loved food blogging. Even in college, I was a restaurant reviewer for our local paper, our school paper. And even back in the day before there was phones with cameras, I'm dating myself, real cameras, I'd take pictures of my food, and my friends would always make fun of me for that. Like, why are you doing that? And I always thought, it's a good memory. Yeah. When I look back at them, I can taste that memory. Mm-hmm. So I just started to do that and explore our new city because I had time, which I didn't have before. So I had two little kids. I wore one, put one in a stroller, and just explored the town. So I took pictures of the food, talked about it. And my dietitian side, I tried to talk about the health benefits of it.
Okay.
But also, I'm an all foods fit dietitian. So if you want to have a hamburger, have that hamburger.
Yes.
I'm all about that healthy relationship with food. And years of diet counseling and weight loss counseling has shown me that relationship with food is far more important than being 10 pounds less. Yeah. So there's a long history of that and the relationship, and so allowing all foods.
Yes. And so in 2017, you made the account for Rocket City Dietitian.
Yes.
Okay. And so in 2017, Huntsville looked a lot different in food scene. I mean, 2017 is when I graduated high school.
Oh man.
And so, I mean, I don't think I appreciated Huntsville at the time. I think I always knew I was going to stay here. I always knew this is where I was going to live and kind of go to school and continue to work. I had jobs. But there really wasn't that, hey, let's go downtown and hang out. It wasn't like a downtown scene. You really didn't do that. 2017 was kind of on the cusp of like it's slowly becoming that, but it was still very unknown for most people, especially my age at the time. It was like Huntsville's just not cool. Like, you got to go to Nashville, you got to go to Chattanooga, you got to go to Atlanta, Birmingham to have fun and do cool things and enjoy local stuff. Huntsville's not the place for that. We have those 3 places, like you mentioned, the Pizzelles, the Piper and Leaf, and then there's more and more that were slowly starting to open up. Did you see this idea to start this account out of the need that Huntsville kind of needed this, or did you see that someone else was doing it? You're like, I think I could do it a little bit different or a little different twist to what people were already doing? Yeah,
kind of a mixture. So really, number one, it was I needed to do something that was creative out of the mom world. I love mom world, but I needed creativity. I needed to do something like a task. To do something. So I was kind of creating my own, we're going to go here today and we're going to explore it. And then I just started tagging companies like, hey, and y'all should go here. Like my parents moved here when I was in college. From Atlanta. And so they didn't know about these places.
So you were informing them and your friends and everything.
Yeah, I was like, yo, we have this in town. And they're like, I've lived here my whole life. I never heard of this place. I'm like,
it's right down the street.
So it started giving me momentum. Like, okay, well, I like showing people where to go. Even in Nashville, I did that. And even now, I haven't lived in Nashville since 2016. People still ask me what to do in Nashville. I'm like, y'all, it's changed a lot. And I haven't lived there in a long time. But I like telling people, go here, eat this. And when you're in that same area, you need to go over here and do this.
So is the kind of like the growth of Rocket City Dietitian in those first couple of years where you just go into places and tagging them, is that kind of how you just kind of growed organically at the time and kind of use that blog site as kind of like a way to write long form content as well as use Instagram to kind of create those like eye-catching photos?
Yes. Yeah. For at the beginning, it was just me exploring and I'm tagging places.
Okay.
And then I started to get like reshares from that actual place. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's cool.
This is huge.
Yeah. And then, so that was kind of like some fire. Like, oh, this is kind of exciting. I could grow this. I wasn't planning on growing it. Like, that was not a plan. It was just something for me to do.
Yeah.
But then it's really fun. And then companies were like, hey, we're featuring this new thing. We'd love to have you out. Can you try it? And I was like, yes.
Of course. I would love to.
So, like, the free food on that is always,
that's
always the best.
So did the success and kind of that, like, when did you start seeing that, like, switch of like, okay, this thing's growing, people are enjoying this, I'm getting it, more and more people are reaching out to me. Like, so you started in 2017. Did it take did it take 2 years? Did it take a year? What did that look like?
I think it was a slow burn. It was a slow kind of build up. I had a crazy viral post, but that wasn't until 2021.
Oh, wow.
On Facebook.
Interesting. Okay.
Which just surprised me because I feel like I'm an Instagrammer.
Yeah, and you feel like the photos that you were taking are like, it fits the Instagram scroll. It fits those like eye-catching photos, the things that get you to grab. And at the time, I mean, there was no, the reels and stuff like that, the short form content there is now was not a thing. And so you're really just doing still images at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no reels yet. And so I posted on Instagram and I did this thing where it automatically posts on Facebook.
Yeah. Of course.
And so I did that, and it was just a date night experience my husband and I had. And really it was like to show my sisters and people in town, like, hey, y'all, we have this thing happening.
Here's a fun little thing you can do one night.
And so I started getting all these notifications on my phone, and I assumed Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's from my Facebook. And at the time, I had like less than half of the followers on Facebook that I did Instagram. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, no joke, it was mind-boggling. So this is viral for me. I know there's crazy amounts out there. But overnight, 10,000 shares.
That's insane.
It was nuts.
And it was just a date night photos.
So it was splatter paint room at Rage Room.
Okay.
It was just something my husband and I did for date night that was super fun.
Yeah.
So it's very fun pictures.
Yes.
Because we wore paint suits.
Okay.
And they had splatter.
Perfect.
And it's black light.
But like for something like that, like you see where you're like, I'm growing on Instagram and Instagram's continued to be a big part of it. And then you're like, I'm just going to, like, everything I'm posting, I'm just going to go ahead and push to Facebook too, but not really kind of think too much of it.
Right.
And then for something like that, just to kind of blow up.
It went insane. And then the company called me and they messaged me And they're like, we're getting calls from all over like the United States because there's a Huntsville, Texas.
Yeah.
There's a Huntsville, Ontario, Canada.
Wow.
And people I only put Huntsville. I didn't think to put Alabama.
Yeah, it wasn't even.
And so like, where are you located? And like, they're like, can you please come back and do our smash room? Like the room where you break stuff. And I was like, I can.
Yeah, I love to.
I can't, guarantee it'll get 10,000
it'll
shares overnight. But
that is crazy. So
that was fun.
That was kind of like that first sort of, is that the first moment that you realized this could be bigger than what you thought it could be?
Yes.
Okay.
Like that was insane. And now I'm at 9.8 thousand followers on Facebook. And I have less than that on Instagram.
Wow.
But I still feel like an Instagram. I don't know. But now I need to foster. So I feel like you need to stay true to your brand, but listen to your followers too. So that showed me my followers don't just want food content. They want
experience
stuff to do
content,
in town. And so I have another kind of viral post on Facebook, again, not on Instagram. And it's an experience thing.
Okay.
So I'm including more experiences.
And I think that just shows over the course of you opening this account and starting the account in 2017, just how much Huntsville has grown. Because there was definitely not as many options for you to go create content like that in 2017. And then really you start seeing that in 2019, I would say. They started like probably a couple of years into college, I started seeing like, okay, there's a lot more happening, a lot more is going on. More places are opening. 2020, we have COVID. It kind of shuts things down for a little bit, but things are, really, we're just continuing to grow. Like there really wasn't ever, I think Huntsville is very, we were very lucky in the sense that like for what we have in Huntsville, it felt like we just never slowed down. Like it was just a whole different way of shopping or a whole different way of engaging with local community. But like I still went to support local coffee shops and had like curbside pickup, and still went to local breweries and picked up beer to go. And like it was just a very like different thing. But just to see those, and especially to see it, that you're like, I think this is not going to be something that's going to do great on Facebook or just going to do great on Instagram. But then it just blows up. Where there were a lot of those things over the last 4 or 5 years of you doing this account that you thought, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be a home run. And then you just sit back and you're like, well, I didn't do what I thought it was going to do. Yeah.
So with the experience thing, I was like, oh, my people love experience stuff.
Yes.
So I went to this place and I was like, they're going to love it.
Yeah.
And that's like the first time I feel like I really did that because I thought my people would love it. Okay. Really, it's just I'm trying to find fun things for me and I'm sharing it.
Yeah.
And then it did not do well.
Yeah.
I'm like, And then there was this video, me and my kids were making a recipe just after school. And it's like not really well lit. It's not like edited well. And that did great.
Yeah.
So you just never know. I think part of what you need to learn is just do it because you like it and do it because you love it. Don't do it because of you think people might like it.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, like at some point that's going to run out, and then you're just going to be doing it for someone else, and then you're probably going to stop doing it, and then it's just going to be like you've got all this momentum just for nothing, really. I know there was a point in the timeline, I guess, of Rocket City Dietitian that you started showing your face more and stuff, and kind of and when did that happen, and kind of what did that success look like when you started including the person behind Rocket City Dietitian, not just what you were doing?
So I wanted to be anonymous because I was just, self-conscious of being on camera and talking on camera and people judging, all that stuff. And then my friends were like, just show your face. It makes it more personable. It makes it more real. And, like, it's true. Like, when I see someone who's not perfect, I don't care. Yeah. They're regular people. So I try to take that judgment off of me and be like, just do it. Just act like you're talking to the friends that asked you to show your face,
Yes.
And you're going to get negative Nancy's no matter what.
Of course.
You can be the juiciest, ripest peach in the world, but someone's going to hate peaches.
Yeah.
And
at the end of the day, it's like people love to see people doing something. And especially in those like when you started seeing that experiences were becoming much more things that people wanted to see on your channel, on your page, you're like, well, I got to show me doing this because at the end of the day, that's what they want to see. Because like just an experience alone is not like, it doesn't make me want to do it, but seeing someone enjoying that experience is like, well, I want to enjoy that experience and feel that way too. And so you started doing that and you started seeing that growth. What I guess in looking at 2021, this episode will come out right before Thanksgiving. And so we're getting to the end of 2021, or 2022. 22. Oh my goodness. It's just crazy. 2022. What does that growth look like over the last year almost? And kind of what is you continuing to see more and more people and more things happening in Huntsville that you're getting opportunity and your channels are continuing to grow? Like, what does that growth look like over this last year?
Yeah, it's grown a lot this past year. I've had a lot more local businesses reach out to me and want to help promote their business, which I love.
Yes.
So I love that. I love experiencing what's new to town and explaining it quickly to people who are watching. I found that 15 seconds is kind of
It's
what
like the
people
sweet spot.
want.
Yeah. Okay.
So I try to do 15-second little reels. I love reels now. I love
Yes.
putting music with it. I do some voiceovers
Okay.
to kind of sum it up if the video doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I love doing that and explaining to people, like, this is worth your time. You should come out here.
Yeah.
And this is the things I ate and the things I did, and it's really fun.
How do you think reels and that short form content has like helped your account grow over the last little bit since I guess were first announced? Like, have you seen that that short form content really playing a key role in what you do and kind of transitioning to it? Or like, how often do you say like this experience that I'm going to, or this event that I'm about to do needs to be a short form content, like a video, like a reel, versus how you're like, this should probably just be a staged photo? Like, how does that, what goes through your mind when you're creating that content?
So many times there's like too many good things for one picture.
Yes.
Like, you go someplace and it's not just that beautiful food. It's so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when reels really come into play, because you can show lots of different pictures, video, talk about it. And sometimes a picture just doesn't do it justice.
Yeah.
But I do occasionally do a photo still.
Okay.
Especially if it's a place I've been to several times. I
Mm-hmm.
still want to post about it because
Yes.
I love it. But that's just a beautiful picture. Y'all know about this place, but this is what they have here right now that's new or something.
So, I mean, being an influencer, which is, I mean, I would 100% categorize you as that, is a very entrepreneurial, you have to be very entrepreneurial mindset. I mean, it's very much you're kind of creating what your day looks like, what you do that day, and then you kind of have like that influx of now businesses kind of saying, hey, can you come to this thing or that thing? Yeah. Is that entrepreneurial mindset something that you've always had, or is that something that you've kind of had develop over the years?
I've always had it. So I can remember as a kid, you know how there's lemonade stands?
Mm-hmm.
I would sell cups of water and cups or pictures that I cut out of magazines and sell it. So I'm always selling stuff. I remember, this is kind of a gross story, but I used to collect crickets on the playground and sell them to kids.
There you go.
You know?
What, in any way to make money?
Yeah. And my sisters and I had like a shaved ice stand for a while. We lived on military bases growing up. So we did the dandelion pickers, and we had this thing. So I've always had some type. When I moved here, we actually talked about starting a coffee shop.
Wow. Okay.
Because my husband and I were used to all the coffee shops in Nashville, and like Cafe Coco was one of our favorite. It's a 24/7 coffee shop. And we come here and the coffee shops close at like 2 p.m. It's like, we want to have coffee in bed. Like, I can still go to sleep, you know? So that was something.
24/7 coffee. That's crazy. I've never heard of that.
You would go there after concerts in town, and everybody went to Cafe Coco. That makes sense.
Like, someone's going to listen to this episode and be like, I'm going to open up a 24/7 coffee, like right near the amphitheater. So you can just go to the amphitheater and then go get coffee afterwards.
Yeah. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, that is insane. I like that. That makes, like, right now that makes so much sense. But like, if someone was just to say 24/7 coffee, I'd be like, that's great. Like, that business model's never gonna work. You just can't do it. But like, concerts. I mean, we went to a concert a couple weekends ago in Nashville, and I would have gotten a coffee.
Go to Cafe Coco.
I would have gotten a coffee after the concert to get in the car and drive back home.
Yes,
that'd been perfect.
Yep.
That is.
And you can always do non-coffee things if you're one. But I can drink it in bed and go to sleep.
So did having the jobs you had after college and kind of coming here and having the typical 9-to-5 job, did you kind of always have that itch to kind of do something entrepreneurial, like you said, and of like did you think at the time of creating the Rocket City Dietitian account that would have been your entrepreneurial thing, or did you think this is going to be something that, you know, I'll do a little bit of, this will be fun, but I'm also going to do something else more entrepreneurial?
Yeah, I think I started with that because it's free.
Yeah.
You know, you can just start an account for free.
If the name's available, it's yours.
I didn't even think about getting actual free stuff because of it. It just ended up happening, which is awesome, and I love that. But it was just something you could start for free because I wanted to start a coffee shop here, but that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and so this was an option to do something creative that doesn't cost any money.
Yeah. So looking at like the growth of Rocket City Dietitian over since 2017 when you made the account to now when Huntsville's continuing to boom and blossom and continue to grow, what are some of the goals you have for the Rocket City Dietitian's account, the company, and everything that's associated with it moving forward in the next year, maybe even 3 years? What are some goals that you have?
Yeah, so I started a little thing different restaurants would have my sticker on it that
Okay.
said RCD Craveable, Rocket City Dietitian Craveable. I would love to expand that a little bit more. So at Good Company, you
Okay.
can see my orange sticker on their door.
Okay.
So like this is an approved place. They have great food. They have healthy options. It's delicious.
Yeah.
So I'd love to expand that a little bit more. I want to do more of my dietitian side maybe on my account. Like occasionally do some more dietitian talk stuff. I try to add that in there, but I don't want to restrict people.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm very food positive and all foods fit type
Yeah.
of dietitian. But maybe incorporating more dietitian talk in there too.
So I know from the outside, I would have assumed before we met, because I guess, so I was trying to think of like how we originally met. It's probably at some restaurant opening or something where like we met in passing. And I think maybe the first time it might have been like, I know who that is, you know who that is. Like we just never, but then like, I guess the last event we were at was the Curry. We were at that event before they opened. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And from the outside, I would have assumed that this is your job. I would have just assumed. And I think I assumed it until at the Curry I brought it up. And so you still have your 9-to-5 job and you still have that, and you do this on the side. What is the kind of that, is there a moment that you think, okay, when it gets to this point, I can make that jump? And like, how quickly do you hope to do that? And what does it look like?
That's a good question. So right now I do insulin pump training.
Okay.
So I'm a diabetes educator and dietitian. I love that so much. It's hard to give that up.
Mm-hmm.
I love helping people learn this new device that's going to change their life and change their day to day. So that's really, there's a long background story. My husband was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes the month we got married.
Oh, wow.
So that kind of sparked my interest. I was already a dietitian.
Okay.
And that sparked my interest in diabetes education. So we have like a personal tie to that, which I think makes it a little stronger. So I don't know. And it's a flexible job. The insulin pump training is more flexible.
Okay.
I'm not clocking in and clocking out at a hospital like my other job.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love the flexibility of that. But yeah, I mean, I always love doing my Rocket City Dietitian page. Like, I think that's just part of me. I love it.
And I mean, like, I guess it's one thing to have a job, like the typical job that you do really, really love and enjoy, and then to also have something on the side that you enjoy. Because do you think if you would have had the job at the hospital right now that you did not enjoy, and Rocket City Dietitian was doing as good as it's doing right now, that you would have just jumped ship and you would have done 100%.
100%.
And you would have never gotten the job you do now that you really enjoy.
Right. Yeah. The only reason I have this job is because one of my old coworkers in Nashville said that there was this opening in this territory down here, and it's, insulin pump training, which I love to do. So that's why
got the opportunity to do it.
I got the opportunity. It's a tough job to get into.
Okay.
And so I got into that.
And you're like, I
love it.
kind of just want to stay right here. I enjoyed this.
I know. I love it. And I can still do Rocket City Dietitian on the side at the same time. They can coexist.
So thinking about your journey as a Rocket City Dietitian, how much of your success would you contribute to being in the right place at the right time? And how much would you contribute to your hard work?
Oh, man. So it's a lot of hard work. I put a lot into it. Every day I'm working on it. It's like my little baby, my little child. But I also think I happened to be in Huntsville when it was growing, so that helps.
Yeah.
So I already had a little following, and then I started writing for visithuntsville.org.
Okay.
I'm a monthly food blogger for them. And then I started getting on podcasts and like little things here and there. So I think it was the right time and a lot of hard work.
Yeah. So if someone's listening and they're like, I want to be an influencer, or I kind of have this idea to start something, what's one piece of advice that you would give them that you wish you would have known when you first started?
Oh, man. So tag people.
Okay.
Because I have some friends that do stuff. I'm like, this looks so awesome, but you didn't tag any of those companies. Like, just tag that chicken company, tag the seasoning. So I think that helps to tag. And also just do what you love and what you enjoy, and don't harp on too much what you think your followers might like.
Okay.
But respect your followers, but do it because you love it.
Yeah. So kind of on that same note, what is like a lesson that you've learned over this last 5 years of doing it that it was a tough lesson to learn, but it kind of helped propel you to where you are now?
I think don't focus on the likes.
It's a tough thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Instagram, all the accounts it drives you to want to get more likes. And when you start
Yes.
seeing that success, it's hard to say. It's hard when you think something is going to do great and you push it and it doesn't do what you think it's going to do.
Yeah.
And it's also great. It's also like kind of, it's almost on the same side, really rewarding to do something that you're like, you're proud of doing, but you're just not sure how it's going to do. And then it does amazing. You're like,
right.
Wow, I just never thought that was going to happen. And then, like, I said that a lot with the podcast too. It's like, you know, the conversations were great, but it's like this, like, I don't know if as many people know about this guest or know about this, like, you know, it might not be as good of a following on their end to kind of help propel this. You just never know. And you're like, wow, like, that was insane. Like, I never thought that was going to happen. Or when people look at it on YouTube, it's like, what in the world? Like, we have one camera set up. Like, it's just like a crazy, crazy thing to think about. But I think you can get caught up in the numbers very, very easily.
Just keep going and move on to your next fun thing you're going to do. And sometimes you never know, the things in the past will catch on for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but
I think with short form content now, with like TikTok and Instagram Reels, it's a lot easier for an influencer there's someone that even just enjoys local. I think there's a lot of local things that can be talked about, and there's tons of food bloggers, but every aspect of it's a little different. Mm-hmm. And I love looking at the way that you're able to approach something versus the way someone else is able to approach something versus someone else to be able to approach something and be able to, like, now I feel like I understand what that restaurant or that experience is like.
Yes.
And I go into it a little bit more like, okay, I'm not completely lost. I kind of know what to expect, but I'm also learning myself too at the same time.
Yeah. I love seeing everybody's point of view at the same place.
Yes.
Like, we'll go to the same place, but all of us have very different videos and pictures. And I love that. You know, collaboration.
So I think what's interesting, and I find it tough sometimes, is when I'm at an experience or at a restaurant, I want to enjoy that experience in the moment, but I also know that there's a lot of value in me taking photos and taking videos. How hard is that for you to balance the two? Because, like, you want to live in the moment and be able to enjoy it, but you're also like, I really want to let people know about this too. Like, is it tough? Right. Like, do you feel like you're always bringing out your phone? Do you feel like you have to sometimes step back and say, hey, maybe not tonight kind of thing? Or is it like all the time you're always taking photos and doing that?
Well, the phone eats first.
Okay.
My kids know that too. Their hands are like just in the background.
Just ready to go.
Yeah. But usually I'm pretty quick about it.
Okay.
I don't, you saw me at the curry though. Yes. That took longer. Because that wasn't a normal experience.
It was a whole like setup.
Yeah. Normally, I like to go, like, kind of incognito. Like, I'll go to the place. I don't tell them I'm going there unless they invited me. But I'll go to the place, and I'll just snap photos. I'll try to get a seat by the window because that's the best lighting. I try to go during lunchtime or early dinner to get best pictures. But I'll do it, and then I'll just enjoy.
Okay.
I don't normally do it the whole time I'm eating because half-eaten food doesn't usually look as good at the beginning. So I'll do beginning. But there are places I'll go and it's just a chill. I don't take pictures of it. Especially if it's brand new place, I'm going to take pictures.
Oh, of course.
But if I go there frequently, I'm like, I
might just get a quick Instagram story and be good to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyone that's listening right now and they want to connect with you, they want to support you in what you're doing, where can they find you? Where can they follow you? All that good stuff.
Yes, so I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Rocket City Dietitian, and dietitian is spelled with 2 T's.
Yes, it's a tough. I had to use autocorrect when I was doing it. I was like, okay, wait a second.
Diet, ITIAN.
Okay.
Dietitian, and then also I'm a monthly food blogger for visithuntsville.org, and I have been in Huntsville Magazine, and I'm coming out with a food article for the winter.
Perfect.
Magazine.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me. I love learning more about your story and kind of how you got started doing Rocket City Dietitian. And I continue to look forward to the success you'll have in Huntsville for years to come.